Loss.
Ms. Abad, there's a question. Can AMLA open their account? Order anyone to open their account?
I'm sorry, Your Honor, I didn't get the question.
Can AMLA disclose those accounts or open those accounts without an authority of the courts?
Your Honor, under Section 11
Okay.
of RA 9160, the AMLAC may inquire into any particular bank deposit, which is an express exception to RA 1405, Your Honor.
Yeah, but can you open them to the public knowledge?
Well, Your Honor, we did that. We gathered those evidence or those documents in the course of our investigation, and I think the matter of this, I mean, this investigation, the Senate inquiry, pertains to our our investigation. So I think I am justified in sharing this information with this honorable body, Your Honor.
If that is so, if AMLA can do that, then as an agency of the government, perform your powers and present it to Congress instead of compelling the bank to do it. Now, can you present them now to the...
Senator Osmeña?
My concern, Mr. Senator, is that no matter which way you look at it, there is no legal person who opened these accounts.
That is,
and we cannot treat these accounts like they were opened by people who really exist and who signed the signature cards.
But that is an opinion. Whether that will be sustained by the courts is something else. That is our opinion of a member of this House.
Well, in
But
the
we are
Jose
comparing
Velarde
a bank
account, in the
who
Jose
has a
Velarde account,
responsibility
Mr.
to its
Senator,
depositors.
there's no depositor.
Well, any depositor, if they can do that to a person who opened an account, even if we suspect that he is a crook, then what is this trust and confidence of the public in that bank?
Mr. Chairman, can I pursue a motion?
Senator Coco?
I am not swayed with the contrary opinion. I have my own reading of the law. I believe if it's a fictitious account, it has no right to be protected under the law on bank secrecy. That's my opinion. So I'm reiterating my motion.
Before the committee decides,
Senator
Mr. Chair,
Angara?
I'd just like to elicit or ask our colleague what information, Mr. Chair, is sought to be elicited. And as a practical matter, would it not be possible for the AMLAC to provide that information about the accounts? Would the AMLAC, what information are we asking RCBC for specifically?
All of the account opening forms for the 5 accounts, so we can take a look at them, look at the documents submitted. Some are probably government-issued IDs, and find out whether these are LTO authorized IDs or completely fake IDs, etc. We don't know, Mr. Chairman, what conclusions or what information we can get from these documents. What is important is that they be before us so that we can study them. Just as we didn't know that the appearance of Kim Wong today would yield $4.63 million. We never knew that, so we don't know. So,
Mr. Chair, can we ask if RCBC forwarded such information to AMLAC? Because there's more than one way to skin a cat. And if we can get this information from AMLAC, then, because I can understand the dilemma of the bank, because there's such a thing as bank runs, there's such a thing as criminal sanctions under...
criminal sanctions on the officers.
Yes, so
yes, Attorney
have you given those in your report?
Yes, Your Honor.
You filed numerous. How many reports have you filed?
Numerous. We filed all the...
So are those
forms.
details in the...
Yes, and we can submit everything to the AMLC pursuant to the open examination.
So I leave it to the committee, Mr. Chair, but as a practical matter, if we can get that information via the AMLAC, then I propose that route.
Is this information already with you, Ms. Julia Bacayabad?
Yes, Your Honor. All the customer identification documents that were supposedly submitted by the account holders are already with the AMLC, Your Honor.
Okay. So,
plus the transaction history of the 5, everything with you?
verbal response, please.
Yes, Your Honor.
1 minute suspension. Hearing resumed. Okay, upon conferring with the Anti-Money Laundering Council, they have told us that they have the information and that they're willing to give us the information. Senator Coco Pimentel?
Well, accepting the wisdom of the youngest senator present this afternoon, Mr. Chairman, I'm willing to suspend my motion. Okay, I'm not abandoning my motion. We can confront this issue again in the future, because we sincerely believe, or I sincerely believe, that a fictitious account already determined by the bank as fictitious is not entitled to any protection, much more the very, very strict protection by the law on secrecy of bank deposits. So I'm willing to suspend my motion, await the submission of the AMLC of all of the account opening forms of the 5 accounts I've mentioned, plus transaction history, plus everything related to the 5 accounts, and subject to completeness of the submission. Should I find them complete, then I will no longer push for my motion. But if the documents are not complete, then we will have to get from RCBC the missing accounts, should there be missing documents, should there be any.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Ms. Abad.
Just to make it off record that these documents that we have obtained in the course of our bank inquiry, these have been attached to the criminal complaint that we already filed with the DOJ. So as far as these documents are concerned, these are already of public record. These are already public.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, then. Confrontation avoided. Okay.
I had the floor, but I'm done with my questioning, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. The chairman would just like to express that he is one with Senator Coco in the view that the bank deposits of a fictitious person can be opened, since there is no depositor to protect. The purpose of the secrecy is to protect the depositor himself. But in this case, it has been established to be a fictitious person, and therefore the laws cannot be used to hide criminal activities.
Mr. Chair, may I respectfully react to your statement?
Yes.
They're not fictitious. We had been talking about persons here as depositors, only that they submerged, they disappeared. That's why the best proof of their existence or non-existence is get the registry of death and the records of birth.
Well, they are fictitious, Mr. Senator, in the sense that they did not open the accounts, and these hearings have been dragging on ever since, and they have not shown up. The records, as found by the Anti-Money Laundering Council, the documents submitted have been certified as fake, and therefore there is enough reasonable basis to get to a conclusion that they are fictitious persons.
Well, Mr. Chair, I've been sitting in this hearing since the beginning, and the words that I heard from the manager of the bank, from her own lips under oath before us, is that these were referred clients, and they completed all the identification documents, including the required bank documents to be filled. They exist, according to the sworn testimony before us.
Well, according to the bank manager, they were given to her, according to her testimony, they were given to her accomplished already. She did not see them personally sign the documents.
Even now in question.
But you're the one, Mr. Senator, who brought up the testimony of the bank manager. I'm just stating that that testimony of the bank manager says that she did not personally see them sign the documents.
Well, then, if she did not, then that will remain a subject of disciplinary action later on. But can we take that as a lifting of the privilege granted under the law? They are depositors. The bank has a duty to protect its own depositors. As far as the bank is concerned, there are depositors listed in their deposit list of accounts.
Well, that may be your opinion, Mr. Senator, but that is certainly not my opinion. My opinion is that there is enough reasonable basis to regard them as fictitious, and therefore I stand by my opinion.
I happen to be a lawyer like you, and I respect the processes of my profession.
Okay, that being said, I don't see where this will go, since the motion has already been suspended, Mr. Senator. Okay. The next one to ask questions is Senator Angara.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Gandang hapon po sa lahat. Siguro gusto kong i-approach yung issue mula sa ibang aspeto naman. Yung sa gambling aspect, may I address, Mr. Chair, some questions to the casino operators? Baka alam ni Mr. Wong, baka alam ng Midas. Ano po yung dead chips? Kasi hindi po ako gambler. So could you explain in very simple terms ano yung concept ng dead chips? Kailan to ginagamit? Ano yung purpose nito?
Can I answer that, Your Honor? Dead chips are...
Excuse me. Just for the record, so that the stenographers know. Attorney Benitan of Soler. Yes, go ahead.
Dead chips, Your Honor, are non-negotiable chips. They cannot be in cash. They are issued for purposes of being played. Well, backtracking, in our casino, you cannot bet cash. You can only use chips. Chips are plastic tokens issued by the casino in exchange for cash that you will pay in the cage, the cashier, or in exchange for credit issued by the casino. So it's a token. It is issued for players, which applies for commissions, comps, so that their play is monitored. How many times they play is monitored. So when a person uses the dead chips, non-negotiable chips to bet and wins, he is given cash chips. Cash chips are from winnings in the betting table, and the cash chips, those are the ones which you can go and in cash with the cage, Your Honors.
Mr. Chair, kanino usually binibigay yung dead chips? Just regular gamblers, high rollers, kanino ba binibigay yan?
Usually the high rollers and the junkets, Your Honor.
Oo. But as you mentioned, you cannot gamble cash. Pero sa akin, yung normal chips, parang cash yon, di ba? Pwede mong i-encash ka agad. Bakit yung dead chips, ano yung purpose niya? Is it an incentive to the gamblers? Meaning, parang, di ba, nabibigay ka ng mga kwarto, ganon. Yung dead chips, insentibo din ba yon?
No, Your Honor, it's a form to be able to monitor their play. So, a high roller will not go to a casino, exchange his money for chips, and then turn around and encash it in the cage. It's not done. So a high roller goes to the casino, deposits cash, gets dead chips, sits down, and plays. The casino, Your Honor, has a casino management system which monitors the play of each player, Your Honor. So the casino management system will identify the players, the table where he plays, how much he bets, how much he wins, how much he loses, and when he turns around and gets his winning chips, goes to the cage to encash them. All of that is monitored in our casino management system, Your Honor. That's why, well, I'd like to correct the impression that casinos, are black holes, that you go to a casino, everything disappears without a trace. That is not true, Your Honor. The casino, as mandated by PAGCOR, must have a casino management system which must track every player, their identity, how much they played, and all of those details, mountain of details, Your Honor. The casino has them.
Sir Chair, for whose benefit is the issuance of dead chips? Sabi nyo it's to monitor the player. But if I'm the player, hindi ko maintindihan. Why would I want to be monitored?
Your Honor,
can I...
Mr. Malastas, you want to answer? Please go ahead,
Yes.
sir.
Simply put, the junket play, the use of non-negotiable chips, is the only way for the junket agents, the operator, and the owner of the casino to monitor the activity of the player. And that is where they derived also their income. So for every turn the player loses, the agent gets a commission, and of course the operator gets the windfall. I mean, they win everything. And same with the casino.
It's a system developed for the benefit of the agent and the casino?
Yes, that's their way of recouping their comps.
And does the agent
Yes.
make money on both wins and losses? Meaning, pag nanalo, may commission siya dun sa gambler. Pag natalo, may commission siya dun sa casino.
You're correct. Your
Tama
Honor.
ho yun.
You're correct.
I see. Okay. And is it customary to issue credit lines to high rollers? Because that seems to be the impression here, that you issued a credit line for around 450 million in favor of the client of Mr. Wong, si Mr. Gao. Is that customary? Is that a customary arrangement?
Your Honor, with today's competition in the casino industry, they do. This has been a regular way of attracting more players to your operations by providing them with, by bankrolling them, Your Honor.
So, how much would you estimate of the money that comes into the casinos, since you're the regulator? Ilan yung is gambled through dead chips? What percent? Doesn't have to be an exact figure. I just like to know the extent of the dead chips scenario. If you need time, we can ask. We can take your time and give it to us a bit later. Do you need time to answer that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Oh, sige. We'll give you. Just let us know how much time you need, and in the meantime, pakisabi mo sa amin, when you say it's monitored, sino nagmo-monitor nung dead chips? Minomonitor yun pag pinalit na, because you assume that eventually at the end of the day, pag nanalo yun, papalitan niya ng
Your Honor,
real chips.
How
is the monitoring done by the casinos of
the
these?
dead chips are the most monitored.
Could you walk us through the proceeding? Kunyari, ako si Mr. Gao, pumasok ako ng casino, bumili ako ng 100 million na dead chips. O, paano nyo minomonitor yun sa casino?
Well, number one, the junket operator has all the records as to how much he will be playing. And then on the table, all the dealers, all the supervisors will keep records. And of course, the cage, meaning the cashier. And then, of course, the agent himself, because those are his players, he would want to monitor them for purpose of collecting his commission.
You mean to say the agent is there, maaligid-aligid lang siya? Ganon na siya?
Yes,
He's
sir.
there the whole night?
Well,
Or he comes back after a few hours?
he has staff also.
Okay. And when you say the dealers monitor, you mean to say if I transfer from Baccarat to, what's another game? Roulette. Alam lahat ng dealers na yon.
Sir, in junket play, it's only baccarat.
It's only Baccarat. Could you explain Baccarat to us? How is that game played? I'm really not a gambler, so...
So it's very similar to, if
Yeah.
you're familiar with Lucky 9. The player who gets, I mean, if you get 9, that's...
Is it
that's-
just is it just the dealer and the player? Or there are many players?
Well, it depends. If the player prefers that he be alone in the table, then we oblige.
So-
but then there are instances where there are multiplayers.
Yeah.
In
When
one
you
table.
when you say you monitored this, like for example itong sinugal na 400 or 500 million. I think 550 million yung nabanggit na nawala sa casinos, no? Yung losses. Would you know saan yon? In what span of time, for example? Would you have an exact record of that?
A normal play of a junket player would be about a week. So it depends on how much he will be betting. So if he can lose it all in 1 or 2 days, then that's it. But then sometimes they do extend, and then after, for example, if they lose, they may enroll another or check in another amount.
But I'll be more specific, Mr. Chair, no? Kasi ang testimonya ho ni Mr. Wong, dun sa $21 million or 1 billion pesos na napunta sa Eastern Hawaii from Philrem, 550 million ang nilaro sa casino at nawala. Tama ho ba? Is that correct, Mr. Wong? Tama ho ba yung sinabi ko?
Hindi po.
Ano yung figure?
Yung 550 ho, dinaro, may record po yun. Every time, every game, kung sino naglaro, makikita po yun.
Sino ang nawala yun, yung 550 million?
Hindi, may natira pa ho. Naglaro po. Pag nanalo sila, minsan kinukuha na yung cash over doon sa checking. For example, may naglaro ng 1 million. Tapos nanalo siya 1.5. Pwede niya kunin yung cash.
Hindi,
Pero pag dilabas niya po yung 1 million, natalo, hindi niya, natalo siya ng 500. Yung 500, naka-record, talos ho siya. Yung isosorry po sa cage po.
So, itong...
Yung 550 million po, more or less ho, may natira po sa Midas, nasa 40 plus million po.
So, 510 yung nasugal at natalo ho, sun sa junket na hawak ho ninyo. Mr. Wong? 40 million ho, 510 million ho yung natalo ho. Ilan players ho yun? Isa lang ho ba yun? Si Mr. Gao lang ho yun?
Hindi po, marami po. I-check ko sa operation.
Sige, paki-furnish na lang yung committee ho ng mga detalye. Ilan po yung natalo doon at kung...
Ilan po naglaro po? Opo.
Ilan ang naglaro at over what period of time ho?
Opo.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to address this again to the gambling community here. Is it possible to make double bets, meaning bets on both sides? Meaning you bet on the for lack of a better metaphor, like in roulette, you bet on red and black, dalawa lang yon, di ba? Pero you place a bet on both red and black. So in other words, hinugas mo lang yung pera mo. Because Mr. Chair, I asked this question because I was talking to some people in the industry, and they said one way of laundering money through the casinos is by placing bets on both sides. And then
Senator, that's what we call balance betting. And we smell that a mile away.
So in this case, there is no record of balance betting. Can you categorically say there is no record,
Senator,
of balance
napakarami hong nagbabantay dun sa transaction, and their income depends on the play of the players.
Pero bawal ba ho yun? Bawal yung balance betting? Is it prohibited? Meaning, pag nakita nyo may nagba-balance bet, huhulihin nyo yun?
Alam na ho namin yun eh. And
Pero ang tanong ho, Mr. Chair, is it bawal ho ba yun?
Well, technically, it's hindi naman ho bawal. But then, we know that is not correct. I mean, in terms of...
Yes. We're not asking about the morality, Mr. Chair. We're asking about the the physical possibility of it happening.
They can always do it.
So I think that's something that the PAGCOR should look into, Mr. Chair, because if it's possible, then it can be done already, because any amendment to the AMLA will be passed in the 17th Congress. And so, right here, we have an admission that it's from the gambling regulator that it's possible to launder money in this form of balanced betting. So I think maybe PAGCOR can require casinos to provide records of this balanced betting. And to my earlier question, Mr. Chair, can PAGCOR categorically say that there was no balanced betting in the case of the junkets handled by Mr. Kim Wong?
Sir, let me backtrack. When I earlier mentioned that we smelled that a mile away, we have ways of preventing that to happen.
So, please explain to us pero bawal ho ba siya? Kasi tinanong ko kanina, wala pa akong sagot. Bawal ho ba yung balanced betting?
Well, for us, it will be quite obvious.
Hindi. Bawal ho ba siya? Is it against any casino regulation or policy?
Well, we cannot prevent any player from betting in what banker player, his preference. However, when we have that, and when we see that, we have many ways of preventing it to happen.
Ilan years na po kayo sa PAGCOR?
Since 1986.
Ilan na po ang nahuli ninyo na nagbabalance betting o prevent nyo? You called their attention for it?
Medyo marami na rin ho.
In the hundreds or in the thousands?
More than thousands.
Okay. So, I'd like to ask you categorically, kung dito sa junket ho ni Mr. Wong, is there a case of balance betting here?
Hindi ho papayagan ng operator, tsaka even the agent will not allow it to happen.
Bakit ho?
Normally, the agent controls his players. They're there to play. And then when they see this happen, immediately, they will be accosted. And
kung pinamis ho nung gambler yung operator na bibigyan kayo ng cut ng pera, hindi ba nagbabago yung mga insentibo?
Sir, there are other parties that are also monitoring.
Such as?
Well, number one, the owner of the casino, the operator.
Yun nga. So, if the owner of the casino is promised a cut of the money, then he's not so watchdog-like anymore. Hindi ba?
Mas malaki hong kikitain pag natalo yung player rather than just a small commission.
Okay. But, let's say it's 1% of 81 million. Is that still a small commission? That's already $800,000.
Sir, 1% versus 81 million. I'd go for 81 million.
Anyway, I think we've made the point that it's a loophole already in the system. We've identified a weakness in the system, Mr. Chair, that we can plug with the help of the regulator in the absence of a AMLA which covers casinos, Mr. Chair. That's my only point here. I'll move on to the taxation aspect, Mr. Chair, because we have heard a lot of transactions. Medyo nahihilo na nga tayo. Palagay ko nahihilo din ang publiko sa dami ng transaction dito. And perhaps that's the intent, no? By design, it's meant to be complicated. I would like, Mr. Chair, to invite the BIR, a representative from the BIR, to attend the next meetings. Because kung hindi natin makuha yung pera dito na sabi nila nakaw, at least siguro may makuha yung taong bayan in the form of taxes. Because hindi ba yung mga remittances, various remittances, subject to documentary stamp tax ho yun. Yun naman hong deposits, no matter how short it passes through the bank, that's subject to withholding tax ho. Tapos eto namang yung mga pera would be subject to other taxes such as income tax, among other things. So I so move, Mr. Chair, if we could invite the BIR to take a look at these transactions.
All right, so ordered. COMSEC, please make sure at the next hearing we have a representative of the Bureau of Internal Revenue present. So ordered.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. On the same topic, can I ask Philrem, dun sa kaya natin hinihingi yung mga dokumento sapagkat, well, that was the first hearing, no? Wala pa tayong masyadong alam nun. Ngayon, mas marami na tayong alam at parang nagtatalo yung testimonya nyo ni Mr. Wong. Because you said you made $10 million. Pesos lang. Pesos, I'm sorry. And Mr. Wong said that, ano sabi niyo, Mr. Wong? Magkano ang naiwan sa Philrem ho? Or ask our colleague what information, Mr. Chair, is sought to be listed. And as a practical matter, would it not be possible for the AMLAC to provide that information about the accounts? Would the AMLAC, what information are we asking RCBC for specifically?
All of the account opening forms for the 5 accounts, so we can take a look at them, look at the documents submitted. Some are probably government-issued IDs, and find out whether these are LTO authorized.
Loss.
Ms. Abad, there's a question. Can AMLA open their account? Order anyone to open their account?
I'm sorry, Your Honor, I didn't get the question.
Can AMLA disclose those accounts or open those accounts without an authority of the courts?
Your Honor, under Section 11
Okay.
of RA 9160, the AMLAC may inquire into any particular bank deposit, which is an express exception to RA 1405, Your Honor.
Yeah, but can you open them to the public knowledge?
Well, Your Honor, we did that. We gathered those evidence.
No matter which way you look at it, there is no legal person who opened these accounts.
That is,
And we cannot treat these accounts like they were opened by people who really exist and who signed the signature cards.
but that is an opinion. Whether that will be sustained by the courts is something else. That is our opinion of a member of this House.
Well, in
But
the
we are
Jose
comparing
Velarde
a bank
account, in the Jose
who has a
Velarde account,
responsibility
Mr.
to its
Senator,
depositors.
there's
who-
no depositor.
Well, any depositor, if they can do that to a person who opened an account, even if we suspect that he is a crook, then what is this trust and confidence of the public in that bank?
Mr. Chairman, can I pursue a motion?
Senator Coco.
I am not swayed with the contrary opinion. I have my own reading of the law. I believe if it's a fictitious account, it has no right to be protected under the law on bank secrecy. That's my opinion. So I'm reiterating my motion.
Before
Mr. Chairman.
the committee decides,
Senator
Mr. Chair,
Angara.
I'd just like to elicit
Or those documents in the course of our investigation, and I think the matter of this, I mean, this investigation, the Senate inquiry pertains to our our investigation. So I think I am justified in sharing this information with this honorable body, Your Honor.
If that is so, if AMLA can do that, then as an agency of the government, perform your powers and present it to Congress instead of compelling the bank to do it. Now, can you present them now to the...
Senator Osmeña.
My concern, Mr. Senator, is that no matter